Today we have a Turbo 1 rebuy MTT played on PokerStars. These are great games to play even if you normally play higher, because a lot of guys just constantly click to rebuy and give really no thought to stacking off super light, to put it politely, for the cost of a buck. Now, one thing is that I have not yet rebought because I guess I'm playing other tables so I'm distracted, but it is a mistake not to rebuy. This player checks, so I'm going to go ahead and bet 2/3 pot with anything just because players fold so much in that spot. And now by the fourth hand, I've pulled the table aside and I have rebought. And the reason why you should rebuy, chips do decline in value, and so you are paying for less valuable chips. However, and let's just finish with this hand. We go ahead and bet about 2/3 pot, so we have continuation bet. Now we're betting for value and we hit our ace. He calls, so I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value again. Our hand strongly figures to be best, and there's no reason to do anything besides value bet. He check raises. In a normal MTT, this might give us some cause for concern, but people are just on such wide ranges here that as a result, we're going to be calling later as well. And we could arguably 3-bet for value, but I elected this call and take it against a weak ace, where there's really very little point in that player check raising. So the reason why you definitely want to rebuy is because, like we said, players are often going to stack off extremely light and take hands like 9-5 suited and just randomly shove them pre-flop, or go with weak hands post-flop. And so you have the opportunity of doubling up your double stack early when you immediately rebuy. And so that is what I would recommend doing. We flop top 2, obviously we're going to put it in. I could just call to entice this player, but he elected to shove. Randomly, he is bottom set. No problem, we still have a fine stack. And so, what we're going to do ourselves early in this game is we're going to play a pretty straightforward ABC value betting game. And when we have something, we're going to value bet aggressively. And other than that, we're really not going to bluff much. We're not going to make any late 4-bet semi-bluff shoves pre-flop because we pretty much expect to get called. So if the right spot comes up against the right player, we might sometimes make a play, but for the most part, we're going to be playing a very ABC value betting game to take advantage of the loose weak play in these tournaments. So we spike top pair, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value and to protect my hand. I should actually make it a little bit higher than this, more like 250 or 300. And we get heads up against one opponent, and I just call him here. We definitely figure to have more than the equity we need against this range to justify calling, and we could value raise as well for his last few hundred chips, but I elect to call, and he pretty randomly has a flush. Okay, ace jack, I'm going to raise, and if he 3-bets, I'll happily stack off, about 17 blinds effective, blind on blind. King 10 suited, I'll open. Now, under the gun player shoves, and we have fine equity against this range. The only problem with putting it in is that we are exposing about a 12 blind stack to the remaining 3 players. If we had any stronger, though, I would tend to shove. Certainly a hand like King Queen suited, I would 3-bet shove. And it wouldn't be a big mistake to shove that King 10 suited as well. Ace Jack suited, I'm min-raising, and I'll call 3-bet shove from pretty much anyone. We flop top pair, and we just want to size our bet such that he might think he has fold equity on a shove. So this is definitely on the smaller side, but hopefully it'll look weak to him and possibly induce him to make a play. Instead he folds. 10-7 off for check fold in the big blind, having gotten a free flop. And now I elect to just lead out on the river. This is basically a blocking bet. I think there's a chance someone can call with a worse hand, like a 9x hand that they randomly checked earlier, and I don't want to face a big bet and have to decide whether it's just someone making a crazy bluff in a 1R, whereas I think players are less likely to bluff raise once I've bet. But no one calls, and I take it uncontested. Queen 3 off for 13 blinds or so, blind on blind, I just fold. It's not going to be a Nash shove, and early in a 1R, I'm not going to be shoving exploitively wider than Nash, because if anything, I expect to be called wider.